What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Just want to thank OKclarity for allowing me to share these ideas on their platform over here. Today we're going to be talking about the fear of failure and how is it that we can start to take action in spite of being scared. And fear is one of those things that holds so many people back. And we all have experiences in our own personal life that have really hurt us because we were so scared to do it. So how is it we're supposed to take that action to do the things that we want and really make sure that regardless of how we're feeling, we're still able to do the things? Because we all know that success is on the other side of fear. And if we can start to embrace it and really step into the moment of it, then we can start to really understand what it is we need to be doing. And I think there's so many different areas and ways to start, but before we begin, number one, I am Bennett Schwartz. Nice to meet everybody. If you are interested, I have a really awesome program called Next Gen Navigator. It's for 15 to 23-year-olds, and pretty much all we do is we work on our own personal development. We work on ourselves to become the people that we want to become. We teach actionable steps to make sure that we're just taking the right action that we need in order to become successful in life. It's an incredible program, and if you have anybody's any questions about it, feel free to reach out about that. But I want to start with the time that it was about a couple years ago, and I was about to pull out the phone of my pocket, and I'm holding the phone and I'm petrified. I am so scared because I'm about to make a phone call that can really have such an impact on my life. And I started to get so scared in terms of like what was going to happen. And before I dialed the number, everything that could possibly go wrong started rushing through my mind. You know, I was leaving my W-2 job and I was going to become an entrepreneur, and I was calling my boss to tell her that I was leaving. And it was such a scary time for me because there was so much unknown. There was so much on that other side of making that phone call that was at risk. I was leaving a very comfy W-2 job, a job that I knew I was going to get promoted. They were telling me I was going to get promoted in, a job that I was making a great living. My hours were very, set. I was being able to do the things afterwards that I really wanted to do. And I realized that there was a lot more there than I thought. And what I had to understand is that if I really wanted to become the person that I wanted to become, then I needed to take the jump, because what I was doing was not working for me. And I knew I needed to do something. So I pulled my phone out of my pocket and I dial my boss's number and I tell her, I'm like, Alex, I'm sorry, but I think it's time that I have to leave. And she was shocked. She's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're doing such a great job. We're going to promote you. It's going to be amazing. I'm like, I understand. It's nothing to do with the job itself. It's just I have this other passion, this thing for coaching. I really want to jump into it. I really apologize. And going back and forth over the next couple of days, we started to try to figure out if we could try to compromise and work on things. And we ended up working something out. And then, a couple weeks after that, it just wasn't working. And, I ended up leaving. And it was one of the scariest things for me. And I think so many people have these things in their lives that they know are going to be scary, but understanding that the fact that it's scary shows that there's growth there. And that is one of the most amazing, and it's really beautiful if you think about it, that we have the ability to grow on the other side of being uncomfortable. And if we could just understand that and say, hey, this is the scariest thing that you might have to do, but guess what? You're going to become somebody from this, because more important than we get in life, as Jim Rohn says, is who we become. And if we can become somebody, that's going to be totally different than actually being able to get stuff in life. And that is what we need to start to focus on. So when we see fear, when we have something in front of us that is very scary to do, we have to start to reframe it. Because if we don't reframe it, what ends up happening is that the fear takes over us as opposed to us taking over the fear. And it's like a little Pac-Man, right? You think about like your Pac-Man and like those little dots. Those are the things like you need to eat in order to like continue to like pass to the next level. And that's what we need to do with all these things that pop up in our day, fear. So whether it's we need to make a conversation and call somebody about something that's really uncomfortable, right? Maybe it's a specific action that we need to be taking that we're not taking. Whatever it is in our own personal lives, if we have something that's holding us back, we know we need to step into it. So how are we supposed to do that in spite of being scared? And I want to share the first idea is that we don't think that you don't want that fear. It might sound interesting, but understand the fact that we have that fear shows that we are looking to grow. And we as humans love to grow. We're attracted to it. So many people are so scared to grow. And so many people don't necessarily feel great growing, but after the fact, they feel good. Think about yourself. What is something that you've done recently that you actually felt great about that you pushed yourself. Most things in life that you feel good about are because you were able to, stretch yourself just a little bit. And that is what we have to understand. So when we have something that is coming up to us, we have to start to reframe it. If we start to reframe it as an opportunity as opposed to something fearful, we start to give ourselves a little bit more permission. We start to take that stuff off of our shoulders in terms of holding us back and being able to really step into the moment. And that is what we need to start to do when it comes to whatever it is that we're looking to do. So recognizing when we have this fear in front of us, the fear is the thing that we need in order to take it to the next level. And if we can start to embrace that fear as opposed to ignore it, as opposed to, not even question it or ask anything about it, that is the thing that we need to do in order to really make something happen. And that's the first area. Okay, I just want to take a quick second. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to them throughout or by the end. All right. The next idea is understanding that if we start to become perfectionists, that's really an idea of procrastination. And so many people out there, a lot of my clients that I speak to, they just need everything to be perfect. They can't take action because it's not ready yet. It could be better. And the truth is it can probably be better. But we have to understand that in order for us to move forward in life, we can't wait for things to be 100%. They're not going to be 100%. That's not realistic in terms of what it is we can start to do. And if we can start to say, hey, you know what? We have the ability to move forward and take specific action in spite of it not being perfect, that's going to be okay. And guess what? We've done it before and we've survived, and we could do it again today and still survive. And we're going to be okay, and we're going to become somebody from that. So understanding that if we're waiting for things, we're waiting for the perfect storm for us to really move forward, it's not going to happen. And we have to be realist with ourselves and really try to get that support and help and understanding about what is really going on here. And so many times people don't realize it, but there's usually a deeper reason behind what's going on. And in a similar vein, there was one time I was speaking to a client of mine, and he was so scared to become successful in business. And he had a fear of success. If you think about that, it was it's a little the opposite, but it's the same idea. He was so scared to become successful. There was a fear of being successful. And if you think about it, which is why? Why was it? And we started to dig and dig and dig. And we started what's going on here? Everybody wants to be successful. You want to be successful. Why is it all of a sudden that you're so scared to become successful? And it was so interesting because as we continued to unravel what was really going on there was this fear because he had a big priority in his life. His family was a huge priority to him. And up to that point, he was able to really spend the time with them and to have the relationships that he was able to have. And he had this belief that if he was able to become successful, guess what would be hurt from that? Guess what would be abandoned from that? His family, the time that he had with his family, the relationships that he had. And therefore, because he wasn't able to move forward, he was holding himself back from becoming successful. And if we take a step back, that's a beautiful thing if you think about it. And the fact that he was willing to say, you know what, I would rather self-sabotage myself to become successful because I really wanted this relationship with my family, that is something that everybody would want to do that. But what was cool about it, and the way we wanted to reframe it, is we needed to, number one, put boundaries on. We needed to come up with a strategic plan. But number two is we needed to understand that innate feeling inside of him, that fear that he had inside of him was a good feeling. It wasn't a bad feeling. And so many times people come to this idea of fear of anything and they say they want to get rid of the fear. But we have to understand the fear is there for a good thing, because what happens if you get rid of that fear for this gentleman? Then all of a sudden he loses that fear that his family matters to him. And what we can start to understand and start to reframe a little bit is that we just need to be in control of that fear. Meaning, because ideally, if let's say he does become successful and ideally his family does start to take a back seat, we want that fear to pop up because that is something that is really important to him. And we don't want to ignore the fact that, you know what, your family does matter. And because of that, it was so important for him not to get rid of the fear, but just to come in control of the fear. To say, I'm okay. I just need you to take a back seat right now. I don't need you to be controlling my life. It's okay. I'm allowed to be successful, and I'm also allowed to have a relationship with my family. And that was such an eye-opener for him that he never thought about. And because of that, he was able to continue to move forward to become successful. And he wasn't able, he wasn't going to ruin his relationships because he was set up. He knew this is what fear of his. And he said, I'm going to set certain boundaries. And as long as I keep these boundaries, going on a date with his wife once a week, reaching out to his kids, when he speaks to people, it's like looking into their eyes. And that was something that was so powerful to him. And so many people are so scared to do something and they want to get rid of the fear. And we have to understand the fear is not something to get rid of. And if we could start to recognize that, then we could start to move forward with whatever it is that we're looking to do. And realizing that is something that could be so important when it comes to all the different ideas that we're looking for. So recognize when we have something, when we want to step up into something, when we want to have the ability to really move forward and really take advantage of something that's scary to us, realize that, you know what, we have the ability to move forward. We can do it. We can take that action. And we don't want to get rid of the fear, because the fear is there for us. The fear is there in order to help us become more successful later on. And just that one reframe changes everything. Because opposed to looking fear as the person sitting across from you on the other side of the table, they're just in the back seat. They're on your team. And that's what we need to understand. So practically, what are we supposed to do? I'm a very practical guy. All the skills that I teach my young adults that I work with, the 15 to 23-year-olds, is that I want to teach them these practical skills. So what are we supposed to do practically? Number one is we can't be judging ourselves. If we're scared to do something, understand, you know what, our emotions are trying to tell us something. Emotions are neutral. We just define them as negative or positive. So the fact that I'm getting scared, something's coming up. Something's there. I need to get in tune with what's going on. And once you can start to understand what's happening, we can start to break it down. So the first thing we need to do is we need to start to look to how we can take some action. And so many times, it's such big action, we just have to break it down to smaller steps. You know, one of the cool things that, you know, I would challenge you, like, how do you beat any maze? And anybody's ever done any mazes, right? How do you beat a maze? Is you start from the end and you go to the front, right? That makes sense, right? So the same thing with our own personal goals. If we want to do something, if we want to not be scared to do something, what do? We start from the end and we move backwards. So where's it that we want to be? How is it that, what's the action we want to take, and what are the things we need to do? Because many times we're scared because we're just not prepared for it. And so many people are scared how many people are like scared of, and put in the chat if you're scared of public speaking, right? I don't know. Apparently it's like one of the most, scariest things to public speak. So if you are petrified of public speaking, there's a way. Yes, of course, you could be scared to do public speaking. But on the other hand, guess what? You could be really prepared and know your speech by heart. And therefore, you're not going to be scared. And you're going to be able to understand how you can recover and learn the skills that you need in order to make sure that you can do the things that you want. And that is something that is so important when it comes to the success that we want. That if we have the ability to move forward and to really take advantage and take action in spite of being scared, that's going to be the thing that's going to really be able to help us. What's up, coach? Right? And it's so important to understand that when it comes to all the different areas that we're looking to move into, that we have the ability to really take action. And that is something that is so powerful. So number one, let's prepare ourselves. So many times people are just not prepared. And there are skills you can learn, how to become a better public speaker, how you can learn to, break up with somebody, or how you can learn to quit your job, whatever it is. And as long as we learn those skills, so then we can start to do those things. The thing is, people don't want to learn the skills, right? That's one of the biggest things that I think any of the coaches on the call over here could definitely attest to. The fact that what our job is to hold you accountable is to make sure that you're actually taking the action that you needed. And for so many people, they're like waiting for things to change in their lives, and nothing's changing. And the question is like, why not? Why is nothing changing? The reason is you're not taking any action. You literally have OKclarity with they probably have hundreds of people that can help you, and you're just not looking to take action. There's so many people there, and guess what? You could probably try them out, and then all of a sudden you just keep finding the right person. But sometimes we had this one bad experience, and you know what? I'm not doing it anymore, and you're letting it bite you 2 times. Because yes, you had a bad experience, but you're letting that one bad experience hurt you the second time as well, but to not get the help. Every successful person in any relationship or in any business or whatever it is that you're looking to do has a team of people that they can go to, that can speak to. We can't do it by ourselves. And are we getting that help? Are we looking to take that action? We all have that ability. And so one of the things I teach, the 15 to 23-year-olds that I'm working with is that, you guys need to get that support, that help, and try to learn who is it that you need to be a mentor for you? Who is it that you need to, what are the skills you need to be learning in order to become successful? We all want to become successful. We don't want to be scared to do it. But guess what? The scariness, the fear is the thing that we need. We want that. And if we have that ability, then we can start to really move forward and take advantage of all the different areas that we want. So understand that you have the ability. You can start to take that action. You can look to move forward in your life. And the question is are you waiting for the fear to go away? Because it's not going to go away. And that's okay. We need to have the right expectations. And that's one of the big things. I spoke about this, I think, 2 lives ago, about confidence and how we start to take confidence. And we have to understand when it comes to confidence, what we have to understand is that it's really courage that we're looking for. So yes, we're supposed to feel uncomfortable, but in spite of feeling uncomfortable, we still take the action. And that is what we're looking to do. So if you can start to understand, you know what, I want to become better. I want to be able to take action. I'm so scared to do something like I was when I quit my W-2 job. Understand, yeah, you know what, there is something at risk. The fact that I'm taking a leap was showing me to my own personal, my own internal self that, you know what, there's stuff there that actually means something. And I have the ability to grow right now. And that's how I wanted to frame it. Not to frame it, you know what, oh my gosh, I might not succeed as an entrepreneur, then I might need to get another job, then I might have to lose my house and all these other crazy things that I started thinking. And we all have the ability. What is it that we want to focus on? And we start to focus on understanding that when our bodies are telling us something, we have the ability to translate it either as fear or as excitement. We have the ability to say, you know what, this thing's going to hold me back, or I'm going to grow from this thing. And that is what we need to ask ourselves. And once we start to do that, that's when things start to get fun. And we have the ability to really move forward and really do and take the action that we want. Because we all want to take the action. That's not the question. If you're here, you see the title, it's like taking action in spite of fear. We want to take the action. The question is like, how do we do it? But understanding that we could start to reframe the fear. We could make it a little smaller. We could prepare ourselves. We could set up a schedule. And what we can start to do is we can actually start to take that action in spite of the fear. And sometimes, you know, Mel Robbins has the famous 5-second rule that you count down from 5 and just really just go for it. And that's like bold and it's scary, but at the same time, it's like sometimes, yeah, that's all you need to do. You just need to take it and you need to go for it. But if you can prepare ourselves, you get the support, we can understand what's going on. For my friend who was having that fear of success and really broke it down, he understood what was going on and wasn't so scared to become, you know, to take that action anymore because he was fighting a different beast. He wasn't even fighting it. He was embracing the fear. He wanted the fear because he knew the fear was good for him. And that is something that we need to understand. So once we start to understand that, that's going to be something that can be really, really helpful. We're going to go on for another few minutes. If anyone has any questions about fear or the mindset of it, feel free to put any questions in the chat. But understanding it is going to be something that can be really, really beneficial when it comes to, you know, our own personal lives in terms of what it is that we're looking to do. So as long as we're looking to embrace it, then, you know what, then we can actually start to step up into it. And one of the cool things about fear also is that we really have the choice to see how things are going to go. And I think it's like, they're so cliche, so I don't like saying it, but like, it's so true. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the most cliche things are like the truest things, but understanding, you know what, at a certain point, we have the ability to move forward and do something, but then also be able to take, you know, be able to translate it a different way. And if we have the ability to focus either on the glass being half full or half empty, then we can start to really move forward in any way that we want. And that's what we have to start to understand. So let us make sure that when we are looking to move forward in our lives, and when we are looking to take the advantage, that if we can start to really understand what's going on, and we can look to start to say, hey, you know what, am I focusing on the negative or the positive? Which one am I focusing on? Which one do I want to focus on? Because guess what? My big thing about manifestation is everybody's manifesting all the time. The question is, like, are you manifesting negatively or positively? And we need to really understand and ask ourselves those questions. And if we are doing it negatively, I think we should switch it. Because we want to live the life that we want to be lived. We want to have that inspiration and be able to do and achieve the things that we want. And be able to create. And by doing that, we can still take that action. We can start to approach it so much differently. So before we even get to the place of taking the action, we have to take a step back and see what is going on here. What is this feeling? What is this emotion? What is it telling me? Get curious about it. Speak to somebody, speak to a friend, speak to a therapist, speak to a coach, whoever it is. Speak to somebody. Just try to get, like, what's going on here? So I'm telling you, once you figure that out, it's a game changer. Huge game changer that you could really start to change. And it could really be something that could really make huge differences in your own personal life. So I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat right now. And I look forward to speaking to everybody. Once again, my name is Bennett Schwartz. I'm here in OKclarity. You can also find me at Coaching with Bennett, which is very exciting. I put on lots of content over here on Instagram, as well as I have my Next Gen program, which I work with 15 to 23-year-olds. I also work with some adults, but it's mostly 15 to 23-year-olds. We're really just building them the skills, helping them get the clarity, helping them decide where it is that they want to go, and then helping them take that action by working more on the skills and the mindset of it, right? If anybody has questions, feel free to DM me. Hope all is well. Peace out. Have a good night, everybody.